Next up, we have Kagan Wang, Managing Director of Tietto Minerals. Mr. Wang founded Tietto in 2010 following a long career as a mining engineer and mine manager in Australia and China. Mr. Wang was Senior Geotechnical Engineer at Southern Cross Gold Operations before moving on to senior engineering roles with BHP and Santa Barbara Limited. He was a mine manager, general manager of Hunan Westralian in 2008-2009. Mr. Wang, over to you. There you go.
Thank you very much, Kathleen, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the conference organizer give us the opportunity to present. So I would like to thank our William government, the delegation of to come long distance to give us support to show that we have been working well in this country for the last decades. Thank you very much. I also like thanks to our William project partner, Barbara and Fred. The 10-year decade and 10 years collaboration is demonstrate our not only business partner, but more importantly, we are good friends. So that paves the way for us to move a long way for next decades beyond. So thank you, Fred and Bamba. So Tietto Minerals, we are at the later stage of building the Abuja gold mine in central west of Ivory Coast. Through the presentation, I like to walk through to demonstrate that Tietto Minerals is a company for investors to look at to do a serious investment. So why it's a company deserve you to look at. So we are near gold production, and on forecast, we are going to have our first gold pour in late December this year. So for the first year, the forecast is to produce 260,000 ounces of gold at all-inclusive sustainable cost $651 per ounce. So for the first 6 years of the initial 11-year mining life, the project is forecast to produce 1.2 million ounces of gold at $804 per ounce. So more importantly, we are very unique. We are fully funded by equity. The project capex of $200 million is fully funded by our parent company's equity funds. So we don't have any debt at all. We have a zero hedge, zero offtake. So we are free and flexible to move ahead. We have a great in-house mine building team. And the captain is our Chief Operating Officer, Matt Wilcox, and his mining management team. And we really are very grateful we have Matt's team, and that's actually one of our most valuable assets, the company. Thanks, Matt. And we also have a unique capacity. We have 8 diamond drill rigs running 120,000 meters of diamond cores at NQ. So that was delivered from July last year to June this year. The 12 months Australian financial year. So 120,000 meters, just above. So that gives us really opportunities to grow the resource. And we are building the mine CRL processing plant based on our relatively high-grade edge deposit. At the moment, we are also working study on the heap leach on the relatively low-grade APG deposit. So that's going to be published very soon. So we think we are undervalued, and both on the share plus, of course, at the market cap as well. So the project financing, we had over 50 million Australian dollars in November last year. November last year, we raised 85 million Aussie dollar, and March this year, we raised 130 million Aussie dollars. So all this 265 million Aussie dollars, that's all for the mine construction. And a small component, $1 million per month for our exploration. So that's the best for us to build the mine. So DFS was published October last year based on 3 million ounce resource that was based on 4 million ton per annum processing capacity. Now that has been upgraded to 4.5 million ton per annum. So capex, as mentioned, just around $200 million US. It's actually under this one. So our infill drilling, which provided good resource update in April this year, we had now 3.4 million ounce reserve with some measured category. So on the corporate side, we have just under 1 billion shares. The market cap is around 500 million Aussie dollar. We had the cash yesterday, 60 million Aussie dollars. So that gives us an enterprise value of just 414 million Aussie dollar. Our biggest shareholder is US Assets Management, Tietto Plus, and we have some mining company which is still the biggest gold producer, Zhongjing Gold. They just owns around under 5%. They invested through our 85 million Aussie dollar placement in November last year. And the board, we together owns around 3.4. My component there is 2%. So it's good to have a small percentage with a good value rather than have a bigger component and low value. Our board have a mixture of experienced members, except myself. I'm learning from our fellow Australians on how they run mining company, as well as on how speak the English. So thanks our fellow Australian. And we have a reasonably well coverage by independent researchers. So project-wise, we are located in the central west of Ivory Coast, around 430 kilometers from the biggest city, Abidjan, to the mine site. So that's all world-class bitumen road, except the last 18 kilometers of our internal access road. So the 3.45 million ounce resource came from a small portion of the middle license. The project has 3 licenses. So we have so far only explored a very small portion of the middle license. So we do have a huge upside. So now the 3.45 million ounce resource mainly come from the edge deposit, which is 1.4 gram at 2.4 million ounce. And 7 kilometers on the south is a relatively low grade, the APG deposit. It's 1 million ounce at 0.7 gram. On the north, we have a SG deposit, just to start to show up the resource. We only had a very small drilling campaign done 2 years ago. So that's one of the areas close the resource. So based on the edge deposit, we designed, we studied, and we built the CRL plant. So we received the exploration license in September 2014. Before that, there is no any exploration activities in this region. So we are first arrival in this region. So we do get the resource very rapidly. Maiden resource 700,000 was delivered in late 2016. We did an IPO in January 2018, and we grew the resource to now 3.45, with a drilling cutoff end of February. So from February to now, we drilled also quite a lot. So we're expecting another resource upgrade later this year. So based on the 3 million ounce resource, we concluded DFS, and based on the 3.35 million ounce resource, we completed the DFS. Now, as we're speaking, we are updating the life of mine planning, which I think will be available in 2 to 3 weeks' time from now. So according to the DFS, 260,000 ounces to be produced year 1, and 1.2 million ounces for the first 6 years in the initial mining life of 11 years. Strip ratio is 6 to 1. The project shows a very robust economic metrics at US $1,700 per ounce. The project produced free cash flow $1.3 billion US before tax, and then just under $1 billion US post-tax. So we are very fortunate that we have a high-grade or the red part daylight on surface. This gives us good opportunities to feed the mill with high grade in year one. So that's this animation, just the DFS mining schedule. So what shows the big pit is the edge half, north half, that's what we call the edge core. The southern is the edge south. So this, in terms of year by year production profile, the red, dark red is reserve, the light pink part is mining inventory at the DFS time was inferred, but with the infill drilling we finished before end of February this year. All this part now is in minimum indicated category. So in the to be coming updated mining schedule, that we don't have any inferred in the mining schedule. So the layout of the mine, we are very fortunate that we have a seasonal river run through the boundary of the edge deposit. So we put a bank there. We're going to collect around 10% of the rainwater. So the 90% of the rainwater will bypass the mine. So the water supply cost is almost zero, and we are building 34 kilometers of power line, 90 kilowatts from Delaware to the mine site, and the electricity is cheaper, 12 cents US per unit. So our ore is relatively soft, so the energy consumption is quite small compared with our peers in this region. And we are fully licensed. We have an environmental permit granted to us in October 2020 as a prerequisite for mining license, which granted to us in December 2020. That's a 120 square kilometer license. So construction, as of now, we can see we are at the peak construction stage. So the animation shows where we are in terms of mine construction. So we are very advanced in terms of construction. So we are on schedule for predicted gold pour in December. So all we talk about so far is the CIL plant. Now we have a low-grade 1 million ounce at 0.7, 7 kilometers south of the processing plant. So we are looking at heap leach to maximize the mineralized the gold recovery for the best economic outcome for us as well as for the country. So intensive lab testing for heap leach in Ghana as well as in Perth shows very high gold recovery for oxidized material and transitional material. In 3 months, heap leach test reached 90% gold recovery. For the fresh ore, in 120 days, achieved 70% gold recovery in the heap leach test. So in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we expect to publish the scoping study on heap leach as well. If that works well, we think it should work. That will give us really material increase in the gold production year by year. So the edge core has a very high grade. We probably still rank as #1 highest gold drilling intersection, 1.1 meter at 2,853 grams per ton. We announced February this year. So that's some of the high grade intersection we published. And with our unique drilling capacity, we increase year by year the drilling capacity to improve the resource confidence. So that short slide shows how we increase drilling density and improve the confidence in the mineral resource we defined. So that shows just the edge core part. That's a 1.5 kilometer strike length. The line spacing started with 100 meter, then infill to 50 meter along strike, then we further infill to 25 meter along strike. So in terms of the potentials, what shows on the left is the 19 kilometer strike length within the mining license. The green line shows the immediate resource growth, which we are currently defining the geological resource. And the red part is the resource published. So that's the immediate resource. And within 20 kilometer radius to the processing plant, we have 30 targets. Some of them has a test drilling, some of them we are doing scout drilling now. So that's our medium-term resource growth area. We also have a south and north part of the tenement, which hasn't really drilled yet. So in terms of ESG, we think ESG like our meals, 3 meals a day. We cannot just have a meal today. It's a long-term process. We have a biggest teams in our on-site working on the ESG. We actually pay great attention starting from day one when we receive the license. Every year we have 2 major community gatherings to discuss the ESG, how we can understand the community needs, how we can working with them properly and to the standards the government needs, the local community needs as the global international expects. So in terms of, we also pay great attention for local people's training, employment. Our geos, they are all Ivorians. So we are very proud of our Ivorian geologists. They deliver world-class quality of job. So that's excellent. And in terms of schedule, we are on schedule now. September now, we are expecting to have a first gold pour December this year. So in summary, 3.4 million ounce resource is the best for us now, and we have unique capacity to grow the resource. And thanks to our shareholders' support, give us a debt-free to build the mine, and yes, thanks to the team to build the mine, and we think we can work very healthily for many years or decades ahead. Thank you.